Ready, Coach?
Ready to go.
Okay, we're going to start with Dasher, and then we're going to go to Mark Weiser.
Hey, Scott, I know you said last night you weren't really sure what was going to happen today. You weren't sure how you guys were going to respond. Do you ever see this one coming today after the fact?
Well, I had a lot of hours to think about it last night because I didn't sleep at all. I mean, I maybe slept about 2 hours and just staring at the ceiling. And, I'd nod off and then wake up and just, flinch and just, I even did it before the game started. I kind of swore under my breath, and Coach Daly goes, "What?" I go, "Just had a flashback from last night." I mean, it's haunting. And just to think about it, to be 5-1 in the eighth and to lose like that was heartbreaking. And you lose Jaden Woods and you lose Ben Harris. And now all of a sudden you get into Sunday and a must win, and you don't have the back end of your bullpen. And Jonathan Cannon just picked us up. So it was a really good win. I think if you were betting money on this one, I think you would have bet against the Dogs. And this team has proven that they're a tough team and they can bounce back.
Well, what's it going to take now to make the big field single elimination game? Looks like you're going to be the 8th seed. Yep. On Tuesday. Got to win that, but what's it going to take for this team to make the NCAA tournament now?
Well, I mean, there's no arguing that the SEC is the toughest conference in the country, RPI-wise, and ranking-wise. All 6 different teams have been ranked number 1 at some point. So it is the best conference in the country. You got to take 8, maybe even 9 teams. And so I think that the play-in game essentially is on Tuesday. Us and LSU, it's single elimination. The teams that play on Tuesday, it's single elimination. We're both going to have the same record. If the winner's going to get to 14 wins, I think that gets you in. There's no question. The RPI, the strength of schedule, LSU and us both have the resume to do it. And I think it's you win and you're in on Tuesday. That's me. I'm pretty biased, but LSU I think feels the same way. And it's going to be a huge game. I think we'll have a great crowd. LSU always draws a great crowd at Hoover. And I think that the fans in the Hoover area, they're going to come out just to finally get to watch SEC baseball. So it should be very exciting.
Just one last thing, getting back to Jonathan Cannon again. Was there something about him today, him warming up that you saw that gave you thought that he may be on today after a few tough starts?
Well, I was concerned during the first inning that the grounds guys, they do such a great job here, but it was so hot today. They wet the field down really well, and it was just a little bit wet. I think you saw after the first inning, they came back out and kind of cleaned the mound up. Both pitchers scuffled a little bit with their footing in that first inning, and then it got fixed and then he settled in. And I was a little worried because he was slipping and kind of looking at his cleats and trying to clean them off, but he got settled back in. And after that, he was really good. Had the slider working to righties. The changeup was working to lefties. The velocity was 93, 95. And it was nice to be able to get him out to get that lead. And, he might have to come back on short rest, maybe Thursday or Friday. So he was able to get out of there with only 89 pitches. And, if the game's a little closer, we probably throw him in the 8th. But once they made the pitching change, that long layoff, we decided to make our pitching change.
All right, thank you.
Scott, you said you think you win and you're in. How does that affect how you approach your pitching on Tuesday? How does it set up for you?
Well, Luke Wagner's bounced back. He was actually available to pinch hit today. So he's feeling better. He'll throw off the mound a little bit tomorrow. And the way he was throwing on on Friday night, we were really encouraged. That's the best he'd looked. And then all of a sudden he gets knocked out. So, barring a setback, Luke will most likely get the start, but we've got Jaden Woods right behind him. So that's probably the 1-2 punch to go at him. Benny Harris, we'll see how he bounces back. He threw 80 pitches last night. So it's a few days rest. He gets 2 more days of rest. He may be available to throw 1. But us and LSU, I think we're in the same position. We'll do everything that we can to win. The only guy that for sure will not pitch on Tuesday will be Jonathan Cannon.
I'm sure you wish you could carry some of those runs to Tuesday. How do you keep it going offensively? What's key?
Well, baseball can be a game of momentum. So, that's the biggest thing is we've got a little bit of momentum. We swung the bats really well today and had a lot of great at bats and drew some walks and just overall, I thought we had great at bats. And yesterday we were really good. And then all of a sudden, we had a chance to break it open. And we had the bases loaded and we didn't score. And that kind of took the momentum away from us yesterday. But today we took advantage of it. We got some big hits. Riley King got the big hit to put us up 4-2. And that kind of softened it a little bit. We got into their bullpen. And so can you carry runs over? I don't know, but you can carry some momentum over. And I think we'll have some momentum going into Tuesday.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to go to Chip, and then we're going to go to Davis.
Yeah, Coach, you alluded to this a little bit. Just this scrappiness of this team, I guess, would be how it seems like every time you think you can count these guys out, they seem to just get up off the mat, kind of like Rocky, really hard to knock out. You've had a lot of teams at this point. I mean, how would you describe this for somebody just parachuting in, the kind of team you've had? And I guess adversity has been a big part of this equation as well.
Yeah, I mean, to go through what we've gone through injury-wise, I mean, everyone's in the same position with COVID and all the things that we've had to go through. Everyone's in that same spot, and everyone's dealing with injuries to an extent. I don't know if anyone's had to deal with it the way we have. And, Ryan Webb going out, that was the gut punch, because he was really pitching well for us. He's our leader, team captain. And when he went out at Arkansas, I even, oh no, how are we going to respond to that? And we went down to Florida and played really well, had a chance to win 2 out of 3. And when the backs were against the wall, we played well on Sunday to get that win. And I think we all saw it. We shoulda, coulda, woulda, 2 out of 3 in this weekend. And that's the frustrating thing, is that we've let some games get away from us, games that we should have won and we didn't. And again, that's baseball. The other team deserves credit for that. But to bounce back today, it's no one would have put money on us today with that team, the way their offense is. And, Jonathan's been a little bit up and down, and our bullpen, we didn't have Harris and Woods behind him. Today was a long odds for us to win, to be honest with you. And for us to play like that, I think it shows a lot of character of our players.
Was there a moment pregame or anything? Did you address that? You talked about kind of how you couldn't sleep last night, and you even carried it into today a little bit. What was that? Did y'all discuss that? Hey guys, we gotta buckle down tight here.
Well, we talked more about the seniors today and the sacrifices that they've made, and think about these guys. Some of these guys are getting ready to play their last baseball games or be involved, be in a dugout for the last time, because they're going to go on and get a job and get married and have families, and their baseball careers are almost over. So that's what we focused on our pregame talk, was to think about the sacrifices these guys have made and the things that they've missed. People that aren't student athletes don't realize all the time that these kids put in and all the things that they miss. Their friends go out and get to do things, and they've got practice, they've got weightlifting, they've got things that they have to do, that they've sacrificed for 22 years of their lives to get here. So that's what I talked about, was let's think about our seniors and everything they've sacrificed, everything they've missed, but also everything they've gained by being a part of our team and our program. And that's what we focused on. And I was thrilled to see them respond.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to ask you about the seniors as well. Just what has the senior class meant to the program, and how important was it to get a win for them today?
Well, I said that after the game. You think about when Logan Moody's in his 6th year here, and Riley and Mason are in their 5th year. When those guys got here, we still weren't very good. We were still trying to build this thing, and they had faith that we were going to turn this thing around. So they came here trusting that we were going to build this program, and they helped build it. Riley King, Mason Meadows, Logan Moody, those guys were kind of building blocks for that 2018 team that kind of broke through. And, Mason being behind the plate and Riley coming out of nowhere, a kid that hadn't played in 2 years. The next thing you know, he's an all-SEC outfielder. So those guys were kind of the building block. But then that next class, the guys that are actually the 4th-year players, that some of them may be back. They went through senior day today because they graduated. And I told him, I go, look, if you go through 2 senior days, no one's going to complain. So those guys may come back, but Chaney Rogers and Colin Connor Tate, those guys, they came here and they built on. They came in here with Emerson Hancock and that group, and just what an unbelievable class that was, to build on the Aaron Shunks and the Cam Shepherds and the Tucker Bradleys and the classes we've been able to put together. So these guys are the building blocks of this program, and hopefully we can keep playing for those guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to go to Austin, and then we'll finish up with Ramin.
Hey, Coach. So I wanted to ask a little bit about Jonathan Cannon's performance. It seemed like after the second inning was the last time he allowed a run. What kind of changed, in your opinion, with his performance? Because it seemed like I think at one point he retired 13 straight batters.
Yep.
So what was it that he was doing on the mound?
Well, he was able to throw his slider to the right-handers and his changeup to the left-handers, and that's been when he scuffled there for a couple of weeks. It was either one or the other. He was either struggling with the changeup and he couldn't get the lefties out, or he struggled with the slider and he couldn't get the righties out. And in the last 2 weeks, the slider's tightened up, the changeup's gotten better, and the velocity's 93 to 95. So you can't really sit off speed because he can get underneath your hands. But I think it's just the command of both his off-speed pitches has allowed him to have the success that he's had.
And then as far as Connor Tate, where do you think he is and the potential of him getting to play next week?
Yeah, Connor's out for this week. He's in a walking boot. It got him just in a tough spot. He tried to play through it and realized he couldn't do it. So he's going to be out for the SEC tournament. He would be questionable if we were to move on and go to a regional. He would be right there on that questionable / doubtful, but it's a possibility.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, what do the next couple of days look like for you?
Well, tomorrow will be off, and those guys, I'm sure they'll sleep until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and rest and relax. And then Monday we'll practice early in the morning. I'm sure you guys all looked at the forecast. It's going to be about 95 on Monday. So we're going to practice 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll have some exit interviews with some of the guys that aren't making the travel squad to Hoover. We'll sit down and talk to them about summer plans and, the season and all those things. So we'll talk to those players before they move on. And then we'll leave about 3 o'clock for Hoover. We're allowed to practice over in the Hoover Met, but they only give us 1 hour, and it would be an earlier time. We have to practice about 11 a.m. So that means we'd have to get up about 6 a.m. to bus over there to practice 1 hour. So I've just never practiced over there because it just doesn't make sense. So we'll practice here. And then we'll take our time. We'll leave about 3 o'clock to go over to Hoover, and we'll get in probably around 6:30 or so and get ready to play the next day.
You mentioned last night kind of the game keeping you awake. This may be kind of premature, but when you're sitting there thinking, is there any other game that sticks out to you other than that kind of ran through your mind last night?
Tuesday, a really tough week. The Tech game was awful. The Auburn game. We've had three extra inning games that were just heartbreakers. That, I mean, you can look at every game, every close game, and say we could have won this, we could have won in this position, but anyone that was there watching knew that we had every opportunity to win all 3 of those games, and we didn't. And again, credit to the other team for taking advantage of opportunities, but we had the chances. We let them slip by. We knew it last night. Last night was a huge game for us, and to be 5-1 in the 8th inning and lose is crushing. And especially using the pitchers that we did. And those guys have been so good for us all year long, and they're going to get the ball again. But, yeah, I mean, just these last 3 weeks have aged me a little bit, and those 3 losses are pretty tough.
Thank you.
That's all for today. Thanks, Coach. Congrats on the win.